Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is David and welcome to my garden. Today we're doing June's flowers, and as I've said to you on the previous ones, I like to do this because it's a way that I can keep record of what's sort of flowering at each time of the year, and having moved into a new property relatively recently, it's always nice as well to see what pops up that you haven't planted, just to see what plants were in there previously. Now I've got four really interesting plants for you today. Now the first one I want to show you is this. It's Oreganum rotundifolium. Rotundifolium just means round leafed. It is part of the oregano family, however it's inedible. So it's not to be used as a herb or in culinary ways, as in the same way that you would do with the traditional oregano. But it has these really attractive round leaves, and then on the end it has these like clusters of leaves that turn pink, and then these tiny little pink flowers pop out of them. And the pollinators love them. You always hear it buzzing, being covered in bees and the like. Now I've got this one growing in a hanger on a drain pipe, as you can see. I've seen these growing in raised beds, sort of tumbling over the edge of the walls or the timber. However, I wouldn't plant these in the ground because they would just grow flat, and I think they'd get messed up and get dirty in the soil when it rains and things like that. But yeah, it's a perennial, so it stays out here all year. I give it a little chop back in the spring just to get some fresh new growth growing, and this is what it's currently looking like, and I think it's an absolute stunner. So yeah, definitely recommend these. What a beautiful plant. So the next one I've got for you is one of my absolute favourites, and I think I've mentioned a few times on these videos that I really like something that's a bit different and a bit unique, and especially if it's got leaves that aren't green. I find them really interesting because the eye kind of settles on them quite a lot. And this one is a stunner. This is Colocasia esculente, and the cultivar is Black Magic. Now cultivar just means cultivated variety, man-made. We've crossbred different versions of the plant to get a particular feature or flower or colour or size that we particularly want, and that's what a cultivar is. And this one is Black Magic. Have a look at this. So this is a tropical plant. It's only grown for its leaves, or at least I only grow it for its leaves, but they are jet black, and they've almost looked like they've got a bit of a velvety touch to them. They get much bigger in the wild because obviously they are in the right conditions, whereas over here this is probably about as big as I've managed to get them. Now you'll notice that I've got this in a pot, and that's intentionally done because they are tender perennials. Perennial meaning that they come back every year, but tender just meaning that they are unable to handle our winter temperatures. So what I do is at the end of autumn, beginning of winter, when the temperature starts dropping, I cut these right back to ground level because they're bulbs under there. Take them inside or put them in a heated greenhouse and just leave them over the winter to just lay dormant, and then bring them out again in spring, start giving them water, start giving them a feed, and then you will get this gorgeous black plant. So the third one that I want to show you is a garden staple, absolute classic. It's Verbena bonariensis, and it is this gorgeous, tall, purple flower that the pollinators go crazy for. It's always covered. As I was walking over here actually to come and film this, there were butterflies all over it. They've scarpered now. But it is a perennial. It will come back every year. They grow to about 6 feet, and they self-seed everywhere, which, to be honest with you, I don't really mind because I think they're beautiful. They've got these really narrow stems with leaves at the bottom, so they work really well in borders because these tiny little heads just pop up and they just sort of waft in the wind, but they're not particularly intrusive because you can see through them. It's just such a lovely plant to have, and I have these all over the garden, and to be honest with you, I'll always have them. And if they self-seed somewhere, I'm happy as a pig in muck because I think they look gorgeous and they flower for months and months and months. Now the only work that you actually need to do with these is come autumn time, end of autumn, beginning of winter, cut them back down to ground level, leave them over the winter, and they will come back bigger and stronger next year. They grow in full sun or partial shade, but to be honest with you, they kind of manage to grow most places. They might not just be as tall or as strong if they're in full shade, but like I said, they self-seed, and so they will find the places that work best for them. So the last one that I want to show you, and again this is a bit of a different one because it's not a flower. This is an Ionium, and this particular one is Ionium velour. It's got these beautiful burgundy, sort of deep red wine coloured florets with these green centres. It's a succulent, and this one is probably 5 years old. If I should pull that back a bit, you can see how big it is. It's a really interesting plant. Now with succulents, cacti are part of the succulent family, and so it needs to be treated in the same way that a cacti would be treated. They have a watering system, what we'd call flood and drought. So leave it alone, don't water it until these leaves start getting a bit floppy, and then really soak it, and then leave it alone. Because what happens is it actually stores the water in the leaves. That's how they survive in the wild, because they go through periods of drought, and so they have all of the water stored within the leaves and within the florets to allow it to survive during the drought periods. Now, I don't think this one flowers, or I've not seen this one flowering yet, but it is grown mainly, or I grow it for the colour of these big sort of heads. Now, again, this is a tender perennial. You don't cut this one back. This one stays as is, but it has to go indoors or in a heated greenhouse for the winter. Because what tends to happen is when the temperature gets below zero, all of the water that's stored in the leaves actually expands. It freezes and it expands. And as it expands, it bursts the cells, and that's what kills the plant off. So it needs to be kept somewhere above zero for the whole of the winter. So either a conservatory, heated greenhouse, or indoors as a house plant. Absolutely stunning plant. Now, if ever any of these florets fall off or get snapped off, you can actually plant them to create new Aeoniums. Now what you would do is the stem of it back here, if this was to break off, you leave it on a windowsill or somewhere to allow the break to dry, and it forms a little bit of a scab over it. Once that scab's happened, just push the stem into some compost, give it a water, leave it somewhere nice and bright and sunny, and it will create a new plant. Now, because these are succulents, they love full sun, and the brighter the sun and the more sun that they get, the deeper the colour. So these are definitely something to have in a really sunny position or on a sunny windowsill. As with most succulents, they love full sun. The brighter the sun, the more sun that they get, the better the colour will be. And they stay this colour all year round. And so whether they're outdoors or indoors, they're a really beautiful plant to look at. So fully recommend these. So that's my 4 flowers for June. Well, not flowers, 4 plants, let's say, for June. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And always a pleasure, never a chore, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.